So today we're going to have a look at what I've done in the greenhouse the other day. Just to remember, here we go. The makeshift sliding door, which works if you do some advanced technology stuff. So I think it's been 2 days because I've been busy, and it's quite amazing that, first I'm going to give you a bit of a glimpse here, that some things actually already have started sprouting. So over here we've got some turnip coming up. Here we've got some pak choy. And maybe here, even though it's totally the wrong time of the year, but I'll do it anyway, we've got some the Mexican capsicums coming up that my wife brought back from her last trip to Central America. And even over there, what's that? The water convolutes, like klong klong, Asian vegetable. So this is well, I don't think it's going to be the last attempt for this year with regards to trying to get anything to germinate, but certainly getting towards the end of the possibility of still being able to achieve something, obviously, just because even though we're in a really nice climate zone here with a very broad growing range with regards to the types of plants and when you can do what, you know, it does get more difficult. I do have a lot of problems with pollination. Funny enough, we actually do have a lot of bees, we've got wasps, we've got other insects that potentially support pollination, and we also have, for example, here you can see spread out various types of yellow flowers. We do still have a lot of flowers. In this particular case, it's one of these Portuguese white melons, which nobody really likes here. Oh wow, that's see, we've got pollinators, although that looks more like a hornet. That guy's massive. Yeah, it is a hornet. It scares me a little bit. But we don't seem to be able to set any more fruit. The chickens love them, by the way. That's why I wanted to finish my sentence. And the funny thing is, we don't have those problems with other types of plants around the property. So, you know, the tomatoes are doing well, cucumbers are growing. They all still get pollinated, but it does seem that for some reason the squashes don't get pollinated anymore. And it's my first year since the apocalypse. I don't have a lot of knowledge or experience. It's possible that these types of plants get less attention later in the year because other plants are more attractive. It's possible that the growing patterns change and you just happen to get, and that's what it seems like, I don't seem to be getting a lot of female flowers, but a massive overload of male flowers, which obviously doesn't work well. I mean, just look at this one. Right, it's got, on one vine, it's got 5 flowers, 6, 7, of which currently 2 are open, and some others were open and they've already finished. But you know, I'm no expert, but they all look the same. They all look like they're male. On one vine, 7 male flowers. Now maybe that's part of natural natural attempt of creating diversity. With what I mean by that is that maybe you want one vine to pollinate the other vine. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know. You be quiet. You've got food over there. What do you want from me? It's self-service. Yeah. Where was I? Yeah, maybe it's supposed to pollinate a different vine. Maybe that's supporting the plant, the diversity or whatnot in some form or capacity. I don't know. But I have it across the property, and I have it in different locations. Obviously, I have it over here in this bed, which is a volunteer white melon. I have it in here, which is a mix of a volunteer white melon and some butternut squash. I have it here where I've got pumpkins. I have it here, which is one of my best performing beds, where I've got some comfrey growing as well, where I have butternut squash and pumpkin. I have it here, like, so, you know, it's got it's a sizable range of locations. And also here with the comfrey, I've got a massive attractor for pollinators, and other things, like I said, other things just around are doing fine. So I don't know what it is yet. I'm curious to find out. I'm still hoping to maybe get a few more of anything in particular, whilst nobody wants to eat them. I'll just show you around the other edge of the vegetable garden. While nobody wants to eat them in the household, and it's funny, somebody told me, because they are used for creating confectionery, especially in southern Europe and also in Portugal where we live. Well, if you add sugar and if you add this and that, then you can make something out of it. But it felt like, and here, these are the two biggest ones, you know, this is my hand, I've got a big hand, so they're quite sizable. It just felt like you've got to add so much to it to make it interesting or edible, that just all the ingredients you could put to anything and it would taste like something. So it just felt like complete nonsense. So my immediate response was, if you've got to add so much to it, then it's chicken food. And the chickens are all over it. The chickens love it. They do have black seeds, quite sizable inside, and they're mainly harvested for their seeds. The seeds are very nutritious. I don't know the details, I don't remember them anymore, to be fair, but they're very good, and you know, that's why you would want them primarily. But we feed them to the ladies and the potential gentlemen then there. And this bed, right, we've got a little bit of brassicas growing over here. That's mainly broccoli. This bed was completely covered, including the edges. You still see some of it here dying back, and even though it was a massive plant, it got decimated. The slaters were over it already when I found it, but I don't think in this particular case they're the reason. So we must have had a squash borer or something. It was a huge trunk, a very established plant, and yet it got killed. You know, within days, basically it was gone. But what my point is, that it was so massive, it had so many flowers. We got 2 fruits out of it. And even after these 2 fruits were established and more flowers got produced, no pollination. And I don't understand it. Like, yes, I could have hand pollinated, I could have really tracked and traced the male versus the female flowers, and also to try to understand if I have the natural possibility for pollination. But there's also cross-pollination across squashes and melons, which means they're not true to type when it comes to seed. They do produce the fruits for what you planted them for, which means if you have a butternut squash seed and you plant that, it doesn't matter what pollinates it, you will get a butternut squash. But if you get cross-pollination, let's say from a green pumpkin, then the seeds out of the butternut squash, funny enough, will produce next year the green pumpkin. So if you want to preserve your types in a disaster scenario, where you have limited access to replacement of anything that you lose, you would have to hand pollinate, and you would have to protect the flowers from cross pollination using, you know, plastic bags or anything that still lets the air in or the sun in, but doesn't let the pollinators in. And even there you could fail, like if you're not experienced, if you're too late for protecting the flower, you could still get it wrong. And I've seen that actually in the last months on many people's posts in various gardening groups, that they get different things out of their seeds which they had never planted. So, you know, even the ones you buy at the store, there's no 100% guarantee, it seems, that they give you what you thought you had bought. There's a higher probability than, you know, randomness in the garden, but guarantees are hard to get there as well. Right. Actually, I really just wanted to show you the greenhouse and what I had done with the seedlings. Then it turned into a bit of a squash monologue as well as a tiny gardening tour. I better cut it here and I'll see you another time.